built and installed JDM structure shed from Ultimate Structures? Good question. First, the manufacturer, JDM Structures, is one of the premier shed builders in business for 34 years. They use composite materials for the exterior with baked-on paint. This ensures you'll have an extended lifespan for your shed. And listen to this. 75% of Ultimate Structures orders are personally designed to satisfy the customer's needs. That's right. And the turnaround time for a custom-designed shed is no longer than just buying a stock shed. Compare the roof designs, the superior piano door hinges, the quality of the wall panels, and personal customer service. You'll see. Come to the Mega Lot on Route 51 South, just outside Perryopolis. You need a shed? We can help. We design what you desire. Ultimate Structures.
For only the second time ever, the American Red Cross has declared a national blood crisis.
The Red Cross says that blood donations have fallen to a 4-year summer low and is now encouraging people to step up. All blood types are needed, but especially type O blood. The supply of type O positive has now dropped below a one-day supply, according to a statement from the Red Cross. The situation's become so serious, it's now limiting distributions of certain blood products to hospitals. You can book an appointment to give blood by using the Blood Donor app or at redcrossblood.org. People who donate by Friday will get a Fandango movie ticket. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
And in sports, we have Bucko baseball this evening, second game of a three-game series, big series in the National League wildcard race. The Diamondbacks in Pittsburgh taking on your Pirates. Bucks with a 3-2 win in 10 last night. It will be Bubba Chandler on the mound for Pittsburgh. They're now at 55 and 52 on the air with that at 6:15 in the game at 6:40. Then a day game on Wednesday at 12:35 on WMBS. And the Bucks announced today that rookie Esmeralyn Valdez, who's in the running to be National League Rookie of the Year, suffered a contusion, not a broken bone in his left arm, and hit by a pitch last night in the game against Arizona. A battery of tests show no fracture. Valdez's status is day-to-day. And the Steelers, as you may have heard, have started training camp this week and will be on the practice field tomorrow. They'll be down 2 veteran defensive backs when they hit that field Wednesday. Cornerback Joey Porter Jr. placed on the physically unable to perform list today after aggravating his back during the team's conditioning test. Fellow veteran defensive back Jalen Ramsey also placed on the PUP list today because of a knee injury suffered last month.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
Had some rain this afternoon. The sun is out right now, though, and right now we're looking at 75 degrees. Do have a chance of some rain in the overnight. Low this evening at 65. Chance of showers Wednesday at 78. The low in the evening at 58 Wednesday. Thursday, sunny and 82, up to 84 with sun Friday. And for the weekend, Saturday, 1st of August, chance of showers 85, rain likely Sunday 81, and the chance of showers Monday at 82. Right now, we do have some rain in the region, but sunny outside of our Davis and Davis studios at 511, and a very good afternoon at your local station, WMPS. I'm Nick Barczyk. The Stug Report is on the way next. Then it is the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman, all on the way next at your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMPS. Good afternoon.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montymed.com to schedule your appointment.
Good evening. This is Chris Felicki of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 537.2 points, closing at 52,747. The NASDAQ Composite was down 55.2 points, closing at 24,877. And the S&P 500 index was up 15.6 points, closing at 7,429. Among companies of local interest, Apple, $340.08, up $3.17. Amazon, $230.86, down 53 cents. Cisco, $115.58, up $1.01. Boeing, $221.53, up $10.03. Caterpillar, $841.10, down $32.18. Disney, $98.91, up $2.26. ExxonMobil, $153.18, down $1.59. First Energy, $49.66, up 34 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $266.78, up 83 cents. Home Depot, $344.63, up $8.54. Intel, $86.30, down $5.37. McDonald's, $272.96, up $2.29. Meta Platforms, $593.41, down 46 cents. PNC Financial Services, $251.83, up $2.19. Raytheon Technologies, $218.59, up 17 cents. Rockwell Automation, $471.32, up $5.32. Tesla, $307.44, down $1.78. Verizon, $48.21, up 89 cents. Walmart, $113.10, up $1.36. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 537.2 points, closing at 52,747. The Nasdaq Composite was down 55.2 points, closing at 24,877. And the S&P 500 Index was up 15.6 points, closing at 7,429. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all your investment needs, this is Chris Ford.
The music stopped when I started having knee pain.
For gospel singer Andrea Michaud, knee pain was keeping her from doing what she loves. That's when she turned to orthopedic surgeon Jason Kinney, MD, and the team at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital.
I am singing his praises.
Our patients benefit from large health system expertise and community hospital comfort. Learn more at wvumedicine.org/Uniontown.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Belle Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Belle Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
It's the summer sales event going on now at Thurby's Riverside Ford. That means all new Ford Escape, Explorer, Bronco Sport, Bronco, and F-150s come with 0% Ford credit financing for 36 months, plus a $1,000 Ford factory rebate. And as a bonus, all vehicles come with a 2-year, 25,000-mile Ford complimentary maintenance plan.
Check out these low payments on a new 2026 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend or a new 2026 Ford Maverick all-wheel drive pickup. Just $399 per month for 36 months with $999 down. Ford Motor Credit financing required. 3-year lease is based on 10,500 miles per year. No security deposit required. Offer ends August 3rd, 2026.
See Joey, Jimmy, Sammy, or Ashley at Thurby Riverside Ford, your one Ford Elite Presidential Award-winning dealer, located 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin.
It's time to drive a Ford again.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Get ready for dirt, diesel, and heart-pounding action at the Fayette County Fair. From Thursday, July 30th to Saturday, August 8th, make your way to the Fayette County Fairgrounds for the experience of a lifetime. They're loaded with action-packed events every day for the entire family to enjoy. See the brute force of the USA tractor, truck, stock, and semi-pulls, the Wild Western Rodeo, or the mayhem of Rise Wrestling. Experience adrenaline-packed motocross races, then buckle up for 2 hardcore demolition derbies. Watch the guarded and deadweight tractor pull, rev up your engines for monster truck races featuring freestyle motocross, and see the madness of Mudmania. Mark your calendars now, fire up your summer, and don't miss a single night of the action at the Fayette County Fair. For the full fair schedule and for a list of advanced ticket locations where you could save $5 and get your Fayette County Fair tickets for just $15, visit FayetteFair.com.
Fayette County Fair, incredible fun for everyone.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown, AM 590, FM 101.1. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk producing the show today. How are you today, Nick?
Just a peachy. How you doing, Douglas?
Peachy? Wow, you don't often hear that term much. Well, that's a good sign, I suppose. It's been a strange weather day out there. Sunny, mild, rain, torrential downpours, nice. Little bit of everything. I guess that's typical summer weather. To hold out was the weather for the Commercial Street Bridge project. I'm sorry, Nick, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
I was not speaking. It's your show, Douglas. Fire away.
Oh, I thought you jumped in for a moment. I didn't want to cut you off. So yeah, the weather seemed to cooperate, I would say, for the most part during the Commercial Street Bridge construction, or I guess sliding, we should say. I think a lot of people might be confused that the entire project was done in 25 days. Not quite. But certainly it beat the deadline to reopen it. I drove on it last night, drove way out of my way just to say I drove on it shortly after it opened. One of those silly things to do. But joining us right now, the man who oversaw the project, and really he and his colleagues deserve a great deal of credit for getting the project done so quickly and getting it open even early. District 11 executive from PennDOT, Jason Zhang. Jason, I know if I said congratulations to you, you would bucket to everybody, so I'll say that in advance. Congratulations to you and your whole team, the contractors, PennDOT, you name it. It really was an amazing project to see and to have it get done, let alone get done early. So congratulations to everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll say it for everybody too, and yeah, I appreciate that. It really doesn't go to me; it goes to the whole team, everybody that was involved. Yeah, totally agree with you there.
Yeah, I was doing an interview earlier with another station, and I said if there could be a Pittsburgher of the Year award, it should be given to all the workers who made this thing possible. I know Pittsburgh Magazine has a Pittsburgher of the Year. It could be everybody who worked on the project. And speaking of which, is there even a ballpark number of how many PennDOT employees, contractors, everybody involved in this project over the years? Any idea how many that would be?
Oh, man, probably, I don't know. That's a great question. Probably 500 people or more. I mean, somebody in our office, just the PennDOT district office alone, we have about 325 people in that office, and probably everybody touched it at some point in one way or another. Just for example, there's a major utility line under the bridge that had to be moved. So our utility engineer had a hand in it. I mean, everybody had a hand in it. Yeah.
It really is. And when did it actually start? And I don't mean actual construction of the new bridge, but like literally when the first time somebody clicked on their computer and said, okay, we've got to replace this bridge. How are we going to do it? How many years ago was that? When did that start?
Yeah, that was about 8 years ago, and that was when we were awarded funding for it. So, funding, I think the governor said it, or somebody said it yesterday, where funding takes advocation, right? And it takes somebody to raise the alert flag and say, hey, this bridge needs replaced, and we need the funding to do it. And I've said it, too, where that funding is being spent here. That means it's not being spent somewhere else in the country. That was federal money that built that, that funded that project. But yeah, that was 8 years ago that we received word that we got the funding to start the design of the project and fund the construction. So 8 years in the making.
Yeah, and I heard somebody mention online, they said, There's a sinkhole up in the North Hills. That's taken longer to fix than the bridge. I'm thinking, well, I think they worked a little longer than 25 days on the bridge. But the fact that it worked so smoothly, the governor said during his comments yesterday that it might well be the largest bridge slide project in the history of the nation. I'm sure if that word gets out, someone will come and say, oh, no, ours was 2 feet longer. But regardless of whether it's the biggest or not, I have a feeling there's engineers from 49 other states who are looking at this thing saying, okay, tell us how you did it because we'd like to try it.
Yeah, right. And, I mean, not to downplay anything, but, I mean, we had the perfect site to do that. And we had so much room underneath there with Frick Park underneath and just having so much space. It really was, I mean, other than clearing the trees, there wasn't a whole lot. There was a gas line in the way, but you don't get that kind of space everywhere, especially around here in Pittsburgh. And we also had a really big reason of doing it that way is because of the tunnels being right there. So, the turnpike's like realigning the turnpike up north to the north of their existing bridge. And I don't know that, but now that I say that out loud, I mean, maybe looking at something like this, keeping it on alignment, sliding something into place, is going to save us money in the future too, because realigning roads is not necessarily cheap either. So, yeah, I do think that showing it can be done, people seeing it, yeah, maybe other people start to consider it more often too, right? I mean, we certainly will.
Yeah, and it's not as if you could have built a bridge next to it and then just shifted traffic onto it. That would have made a heck of an S-turn coming out of the tunnel.
Right, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
But I do recall when I was very young, the Birmingham Bridge was built right next to the old Brady Street Bridge, and it was just simply built next to it in full scale and then done, and then the other bridge was demolished. Do I have that memory right, or that's long before both our times as adults?
No, you're right about that. I mean, I think that was built before I was around, but I mean, I've seen the stories there. I remember the gentleman, the one iron worker that got his leg caught in the steel there on the old bridge when they were demolishing it. But yeah, I mean, and that, again, if you have room to do that, we did that for the Halton Bridge just a few years ago, where we built a new bridge next to the old Halton Bridge, and then we just moved the road over permanently to the new location. And that happens quite frequently. That happens a lot. That's what I mean by a new alignment. That's the technical term. But I mean, in the case of the Commercial Street Bridge, you couldn't do that because you had the tunnel connection. Like you said, you had that turn. You just couldn't make it work with the roadway.
September 2nd, 1977. Good heavens, I was in junior high when that bridge opened. I just looked it up here. Of course, linking East Carson Street on the south side to the 5th and Forbes Avenues on the north side. But I do remember that story about that steel worker who actually ended up losing his leg as a result of that. Because somebody once asked me, why is the bridge have a big turn on the south side of it? I said, well, that's because it was built next to the old one, and that they had to reconnect it to Carson Street. But back to the bridge project here we're talking about. But yeah, it is interesting. When I never thought of that. I didn't hear that angle of it, that you had the perfect location to do it. Obviously, you couldn't slide a bridge over a river, maybe over a smaller river or a small creek, but that couldn't. I'm guessing that could not be done over water, could it?
Again, it depends on the situation. Yeah, I would say it could be done. Obviously, that would create a lot more different challenges. Actually, now that you say that, a great example of where it was proposed, but it wouldn't work, was Chartiers Creek, the bridge in Bridgeville, the Route 50 bridge over Chartiers Creek, where we built that in 3 weekends with modular construction, bringing pieces, like large pieces out and putting it together there. The contractor actually proposed to build next to that bridge and slide that into place. And that actually was same contractor. But that happens to be, that's pretty unique. It is an engineered flood channel at Chartiers Creek there. So we were actually not allowed to do that, like by permit, by whoever that is, the Army Corps or DEP, whoever issues those permits. We were not permitted to do that because that would change the flooding characteristics of that waterway, having a whole nother bridge next to the old bridge while they built it. So, I mean, every situation is different and unique, and you have to go through, you have to go through the steps of the design to see what's going to work, what's not going to work.
Yeah, and that bridge, there was a temporary bridge built next to that one, right, on Route 50?
No, we actually built the bridge off-site in large pieces, and then brought it down to the site, and in a matter of weekends. Like one weekend we did one direction, another weekend we did the other direction, and then the third weekend to put an overlay on it. So another accelerated type project, but again, the slide didn't work there because of the waterway features.
Yeah. Now, many years ago, I worked for an engineering firm, and I was always amazed at what the engineers could come up with. And I think you've done, I've heard so many of your interviews, you've done a great job explaining this in language folks like me and Nick can understand. And when you're talking about something this complex, to be able to bring it down to a level that makes sense to most people is not the easiest thing in the world. I think you've done a great job throughout this whole project. So where do you go from here? I mean, when the bridge finally opened and cars went across, did you stand there and yell, "I'm going to Disney World" or something? I mean, what do you do as a follow-up to this? I hope you get some vacation.
Yeah, take a vacation. I got to move kids to different apartments and colleges coming up here in the fall. So yeah, there's plenty to do, but definitely can breathe again. Having a Parkway East shut down is a terrible feeling. If you're in my job, it's just the worst ever. So it's great to have it opened again. Like we can all breathe again and kind of start looking at all the other things we got going on. So, and there's a lot.
Well, you'd have really had to hold your breath if you would have done it the old-fashioned way, closing one lane at a time. It had taken 3 years. That would have been a long time to hold your breath.
Yeah, that's true.
You and your team have proven it can be done, and really, congratulations. It really was sort of amazing to watch. Implosions are always amazing. When you think about Three River Stadium being imploded within 90 feet of the under-construction then Heinz Field, and didn't damage the construction there, it proves what these implosion experts can do. It really is something to watch. I think I told you, somebody sent me an email to my email here at the radio, on the radio show, complaining there was too much dust. She couldn't really see the implosion that well. I said, well, I don't think they can do anything about that. But I thought it was sort of funny that people are so interested in watching this. Almost everybody I talked to said, "Oh yeah, I watched the video of it. It was pretty cool."
Yeah, it's amazing the interest that we had. Yeah, yep. No, it was a great project to be a part of, and I learned a lot through it, and just going through it, and I mean, it was just so happy that it's opened early, and I'm glad that we could deliver to the region here, and once in a while. Get some positive feedback, about what we do, because I've said this in other interviews. It's what we do is very difficult. We by definition, our job is to work on the roads and the bridges that people use every day, and they're heavily traveled, a lot of traffic, and so it's hard to do that and not inconvenience people in one way or another. So we always try to minimize that, and that's the truth.
Yeah, well, you did a good job, and even the detours. I spent some time in Oakland, and at one point, literally a few days before the detour started through Oakland, that was down to one lane on Fifth Avenue, and obviously that was taken care of, so you wouldn't have such a bottleneck in Oakland. And I've talked to people who go to Oakland every day, and they said they were shocked at how well the traffic flowed through there, considering that was the main detour route, or at least one of them, I should say. So, Jason, congratulations again to you and your team. We appreciate your taking time to talk to us today on sort of a post-game analysis of the Commercial Street Bridge construction project, up and running. Well done. Thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Care. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Jason Zhang, District 11 Executive from PennDOT, joining us on the Afternoon Drive show, the WMBS Newsmakers line. We come back. We're going to talk some politics. Every once in a while, we check in with Dick Jewell, who's a well-known regional, national, statewide, national business and community leader, expert in politics. We're going to talk to him on the latest on politics. He, as well, was good friends with now the late Congressman Tim Murphy. Dick and I were speaking at Tim's funeral and the wake afterwards just over the weekend. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
Trade me in! It's Jessica Karingala and Joe Malika here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer is here, and there's never been a better time to upgrade during the Ford Summer Sales event.
Looking for America's best-selling truck? Right now, drive home a new Ford F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP, or choose up to $7,000 off MSRP with low financing rates as low as 3.9 for 60 months or 4.9 for 72, or even 84 months.
Need something versatile for work, weekends, and everything in between? Check out other models such as the Maverick, Bronco Sport, or Explorer, all ready for your next summer adventure.
Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running all summer long with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery to cover your needs.
Don't wait. These summer savings won't last forever. Your truck knows, shouldn't you? That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or FordofUniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees. Financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Do you need a fast, friendly notary service that is open in the evening? Sandy Howell Notary Services is here for you, offering new PA and West Virginia plates and ready to assist with your vehicle, boat, motorcycle, and ATV registrations and transfers, plate renewals, and more. Serving Fayette County and all surrounding areas, open weekdays from 10 to 8:30 and Saturdays from 9 to 5. Sandy Howell Notary Services, Dry Knob Road, Smithfield. Call 724-564-8955. Big enough to serve you, small enough to know you by name.
It's the biggest sale ever at Pat's Bridal Boutique, celebrating 40 years in business. Hundreds of gowns on sale. Select bridals start at $99, and full-price bridals are 20% off. Select bridesmaids gowns only $25, and short summer dresses for special occasions start at $29. Never too early to think about prom. All Pat's prom gowns also on sale, so hurry for best selection. Star Spangled Savings end July 31st. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Pat's Bridal Boutique, West Crawford Avenue in Connellsville.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. That's Nick Varchek producing the show. I'm Doug Saltzman hosting the show. I want to thank Jason Zhang for joining us a few moments ago from PennDOT, of course, District 11 Executive, talking about the great accomplishment that is the Commercial Street Bridge. And I mentioned it sort of in passing, but I like that idea that Pittsburgh Magazine every year has a Person of the Year. They should have People of the Year. All the women and men who worked on that project could be Pittsburgh Magazine's People of the Year. because it really was an amazing project. Governor Shapiro said it may well have been the largest bridge slide project in U.S. history. And it opened not only on time, but early. I drove on it last night. It seemed safe to me, but what do I know? No, it really was an amazing project. Good to have Jason. And he deflected the credit to everybody who worked on that project. And he said, what did he say, Nick? How many thousands of people over the last 8 years had a hand in the project? Really amazing stuff.
I forget the number. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. They should all be commended. Yes.
Yeah, that would be a cool thing. People of the Year on Pittsburgh Magazine, or Pittsburghers of the Year, I should say. Joining us right now on the WM, a good friend of the show. We check in with him occasionally, probably not enough, but not just, he's not well known regionally or statewide, but also nationally. A business and community leader and political expert, Dick Joel. Dick, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, Doug, thanks. Great to be with you as always.
You have more power than most people I know. What do you think about all the workers being named Pittsburghers of the Year for the work?
I love the idea.
It's
the ingenuity of engineers, the ingenuity of government, actually, interestingly enough, that produce that remarkable outcome, savings in enormous personal time to drivers over a 4-year period, which it would have taken to do it in a conventional way, and the way in which they did it, and the cost, just remarkable. And it heralds probably the new way to do these kind of projects, as they're starting to do now around the country.
Yeah, really amazing stuff. And, everybody involved should be very proud of it. You know they're going to be talking about that for the rest of their careers and into their retirement, that they were part of that project. Well, let's take a moment to talk politics, of course. And let's start off, you and I, of course, saw each other on Saturday at a very sad event, the funeral, and then you and I spoke at the wake afterwards for former Congressman Tim Murphy, who died far too young, shocking death of a heart attack after jogging, I understand. He went home after having a jog and died of a heart attack. Tim had a very strong career. Everybody knows of Tim's issues, we'll call them, but he made amends and he kept his family together. But more importantly, he committed himself to still helping people even in his post-government life. Veterans, PTSD, and other folks. Sort of an amazing guy, was he not?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He trained as a clinical psychologist, PhD out of Pitt, Wheeling Jesuit College before that, a Jesuit high school in Cleveland, one of 11 children, a very strong faith-based Catholic gentleman, and was always looking to help and to be of service. And that was a hallmark of his personality. As you know, I was his finance director when he ran for Senate, state Senate, and for his defense of his Senate seat. And then when he ran for the first time and was victorious in his push for a congressional seat in the 18th Congressional District here in Pennsylvania. So I obviously knew Tim well and knew him on his political side, but, knew him very well on his personal side. I wasn't involved in some of his other campaigns, though, after that, because, as you know, I went up to Grove City College as its 8th president. And while I was at the college, I was not politically active because all my fundraising was really in behalf of the college. But I certainly kept up with him quite a bit.
Yeah. His career was fascinating. I mean, he literally joined the Navy Reserves late in life, and despite that, still had to do basic training, which I'm sure he was there with a bunch of 18-year-olds doing it. Really sort of amazing. When we had Judge Mike Fisher on, another close friend of yours and mine, on last week, he talked about that. He literally went through basic training late in life. Not the easiest thing when you're 18.
No, actually, funny you should say that, because Judge Fisher, formerly the Attorney General of the Commonwealth, a senator, state senator, and state rep in his career, and he ran against, of course, Eddie Rendell the first time for governor on the Republican ticket. Mike Fisher and I were in the Army together back in 1970, 69, 69, 70. Michael was finishing a initial tour in the National Guard, where he had to go to basic and advanced infantry training, and I was in just before an OCS program and doing advanced infantry at Fort Polk, Louisiana, and Mike and I, by happenstance, were in the same training platoon at Fort Polk way down south. But there's a great story about Tim's coming to the Navy. Tim had told me he was interested in working with the sailors and Navy personnel at Bethesda when he was in Washington as a member of Congress, and he could only really do that if he was in the Navy. So I had gotten to know through two mutual friends quite well the chairman of the Navy, or well, he was a chief naval officer, CNO, Admiral Mike Mullen, and I had Mike at the college when I was president in 2006 as my commencement speaker. And then 2 years after that, he was nominated by President George W. Bush to the office of Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Served 4 years as Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, 2 under Mr. Bush, his last 2, and 2 under Mr. Obama, his first 2. So I invited Mike to come back up to the college, where I was continuing as president there for 11 years, to deliver the John Howard Pugh Memorial Lecture in the subject of national security. He agreed to come up. I know him to this day. He's a very fine gentleman, retired, of course, now. And I told him I was going to have a special dinner before the lecture, and it would have all the military officers in all the colleges and universities in Western Pennsylvania that had ROTC units and their top military science student. So about 30 officers came from around the whole state here, western part, up to Erie, down, south even. And they had a chance to have a private dinner with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I invited the congressional delegation, those in the House. And of the 4 that qualified with that term, 2 came, Tim Murphy and Kathy Dowkemper, who was from Erie and was serving her only term before Congressman Kelly was elected. He's been there a long time, so they both came. So at dinner, I put Tim on the chairman's left, and I put Kathy on the chairman's right, the 2 members of Congress. And Tim and he had a good sidebar on his interests, and I had given Mike a heads up. I think within 2 to 3 months, might have been 4, but I think 3 or 4, let's say. He received a direct commission as a lieutenant commander, the United States Naval Reserve, from the chairman. The chairman was responsible for it directly, where he could work with the sailors and troops that had PTSD and other psychological problems. And, of course, as like anybody in the reserves, you'd serve 1 weekend a month, and then you'd go for 2 weeks in the summer, and his 2 weeks would be on shipboard. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs promised him that he would only assign him, or he would only be assigned to it, and this is my favorite story, to a ship, or he would not be, I should say, would not be assigned to a ship named for Democrats. So sure enough, Tim was assigned to the Ronald Reagan 2 or 3 times, joined the Reagan one time out in the Pacific Rim, and had a chance to work on ships named for Republicans. And we always chuckled about that. And he enjoyed his service as a reservist, and he was later promoted to full commander, which is like a lieutenant colonel in the Army or Air Force, if you're a lieutenant commander in the Navy. And one thing a lot of people don't realize, back in the old days, Barry Goldwater was a 2-star general. Jimmy Stewart was a general. They earned it. They were pilots and things like that. And others served. Lindsey Graham, who we just buried today, was a full-bird colonel, JAG officer in the Air Force. He was in the Air Force 33 years. But they had changed the rules years ago in Congress. If you're serving on active duty as a reservist, you don't get paid. So it wasn't a double dip. So he wasn't doing it for money. He was doing
Right,
it for
exactly.
the opportunity to truly serve, and that was him. I mean, he was about the hardest working guy I ever saw. One of my favorite stories is a little shopping center in Bethel Park where I live, where I grew up. We're called Rutherford Acres. And one Saturday morning, I went over to the cleaners early in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, right when they first opened. Saturday morning, nobody's there. The place is empty. Most of the stores won't be open for 2 or 3 hours. But they were opening a brand new coffee shop there, and there's about 4 people out front cutting a ribbon. And as I pull in to the cleaners, the only other store open, who's in the middle? It's Tim Murphy. He's there for the opening of the coffee shop. In fact, Tim, it was said of Tim that with very little notice, he could appear at the opening of your morning paper. That's how. That's how. And of course, you know a guy like that. You worked for Arlen, who was everywhere and worked from 6 in the morning till 11 at night, and then maybe got home at midnight. Specter was that way, the senator. And Tim had that work ethic. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, he really did. And speaking of elected officials getting military rank, John Pippy, who replaced Tim Murphy in the state Senate, of course, is now a general. So
absolutely.
So we were talking with Dick Jewell, nationally known political analyst and involved in community and business affairs over the years. As he just mentioned, former president of his own alma mater. The goal of your lifetime, you once told me, to be president of Grove City College.
Well, it was the opportunity. It was the opportunity of my lifetime. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I did it for 11 years, and it was just a great opportunity.
Well, let's switch over and talk in our last 5 minutes or so here about politics. Here, of course, we have the governor's race in Pennsylvania, and as we mentioned earlier, the bridge projects like the Commercial Street Bridge gives an incumbent a great opportunity to get a lot of publicity and maybe even credit for a project like that. It's tough running against an incumbent governor, is it not?
Well, it definitely is, and we haven't had anyone defeated for years except for Tom Corbett after the 4 years that he served. It's almost unheard of. And, of course, not till the 68 changes in the Constitution did we get a governor who was eligible to run for re-elect. So Milton Shapp was the first governor in the history of the Commonwealth, elected in 1970, to have the opportunity to run for and to win 2 terms as governor. They still have a 1-term only, for example, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but not in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you're a lame duck as you're getting sworn in.
Precisely.
Yeah, very, very strange. And it took, as you said, until the Constitutional Convention in the late 1960s to change that over. And oddly enough, as you mentioned, the first governor to win re-election was actually Milton Shapiro. That was his name before he changed it to Milton Shapp. A lot of people don't realize that.
Exactly right. The president of Gerald Electronics, and Gerald was his middle name. He was one of the first big box, big TV, early cable guys in the development of that technology and that application to television.
And of course he served 2 terms. Then of course and went back and forth. Well, if you go all the way back to World War II until Tom Corbett lost re-election, it was 8 years of a Democratic governor, 8 years of a Republican governor, back and forth up until that point. Even though you could only serve 1 term, that's just by fluke how it happened all those many years. And so we do have the governor's race coming up against. It seemed to be a unified Republican Party this time around. During the last election, the Republican primary for governor, at one point, a friend of ours who's on this show regularly, Chris Nicholas, was putting together a debate among the Republican candidates, and they had trouble finding matching podiums for this event because there were so many people running for governor.
It was like the Republican Party for president in 2016. That Trump finally mastered. He mastered some of the great candidates ever in the history of the Republican Party up on that stage at the same time. It's pretty remarkable.
Interesting. At the national level, of course, it's the midterm elections. Going back, my gosh, to almost most of yours and my lifetime, the party of the president does not do well in midterm elections. The only exception was 2002, and of course that followed 9/11. Everything was different that year, Ron. But that is, as we always say, the one thing that always wins in politics is the pendulum. It never loses. It swings back and forth. We'll wait and see what happens. That general election is not that far off at this point. This coming November.
No, and what's interesting though, remember we were assuming we were going to have a red wave back in 22. Of course, that didn't happen. And I think maybe 6-8 months ago, the D's were thinking in the back of their head there'd be a blue wave, at this time. But no, because of circumstances in the last few months and the Democratic Socialist schism that's appearing in the Democratic Party, right now, as you know, the D's are slightly favored to just capture enough seats back to take House control. But it looks like and that's not a given yet. And it looks like the Republicans have a good chance to retain the Senate control. And even if the Republicans hold the Senate, lose the House, that's a big upset. If they would ever retain both chambers again, that'd be remarkable, but not necessarily out of the question. But with only 198 days or something to go, it's still early because circumstances and incidents can occur that can affect something bang like that overnight. And until we get right up to the election, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to call this time.
Yeah, it really is. Dick Jewell joining us in the Afternoon Drive Show. Dick, thanks so much. We appreciate your comments and great story about, sadly now, the late Tim Murphy. A shock to everybody, for heaven's sakes. In fact, I didn't believe it when I first got the news Sunday morning. Could not believe it.
Well, I just talked to him the day before. I was in Philadelphia, and he had called, and he was working on, and I was helping him, but he had done most of the work on this one. He'd raised $1,200,000 for a project he called Gunny's Ridge, which Gunny meaning a sergeant, a gunny sergeant in the Marines, and it was a retreat that he wanted to build in the woods in a portion of Washington County, where soldiers with veterans with PTSD from combat or the military experience could go and stay for a period of time, and he and others could help them professionally as psychologists that had that PTSD. And we had about $1 million more to raise, and he was the guiding force on this project. And I was glad to help him, and it was just like him. He always had a project or two going on.
Yeah. Well, let's have you back on, and we'll talk about that next time around and keep that going in his memory. A great project. We'll have you on to talk about that next time in more detail. Dick, thanks so much.
Great, Doug. Always a pleasure to join you.
All right. Thank you.
Yes,
Dick Jewell joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Let's take a break, wrap up the hour. News coming up at the top of the hour, followed by hard pregame at 6:15. Stick around.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
For over 50 years, Mauser's Tire Center has kept our community rolling safely. Located on Route 40 West at Seawrights Crossroads, they're your trusted source for new, used, and recap tires, plus expert repairs. Need a new set or a quick fix? Then call Mausers at 724-249-2410, and they'll get you ready for the road. Mausers Tire Center. 5 decades of keeping you safe.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, and Saturdays, 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228, for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
And that's a wrap for the Tuesday edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS. I'm Doug Saltzman, Nick Barczyk, producing the show as almost always. Good to have you, Nick. Thanks for being there. I want to thank Jason Zhang and Dick Joel for joining us on the show. We'll be back tomorrow for a full show. News coming up at 6, national, then local news, followed by Pirates baseball pregame at 6:15, first pitch 6:40.
He died doing the work he was born to do. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Those words from President Trump as he honored late Senator Lindsey Graham.
President Trump delivered a tribute to Senator Lindsey Graham at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C.
He was a force of nature, and I will miss him greatly.
He said for 30 years, nothing of significance happened in the Capitol or even the world without Graham knowing about it, nor a piece of legislation passing without Graham having a say in it.
It's a testament to his towering impact that among those mourning him here today are leaders, presidents, prime ministers from all over the globe.
The president said while Graham's life was cut short, he lived it to the fullest and died doing the work he was born to do, going out at the top of his game.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, one of those in attendance at Senator Graham's funeral.